Myst, Might, Mayhem. By Han Jung-Wioya. Chapter 385. Return. Part 1. In the office of the Vice Society leader at the main branch of Heaven and Earth Society's inner sanctum, Vice Society leader Mong Xiao-Cheon stared intently at someone for a long time with a fearsome expression. It was Mong Muyak, his son, and the deputy leader of the Society Leaders Direct Squad who also commanded the intelligence department. The look in Vice Society leader Mong Xiao-Cheon's eyes as he gazed at Mong Muyak was peculiar. This was because he had initially called him in to reprimand him out of anger, but upon facing him, the atmosphere had changed, and he regained his composure. This kid? He had changed. Originally, he always held a hint of fear when facing his father. But now, he was looking straight into his eyes without the slightest tremor. Rather than defiance, it was clear confidence. Could it be that his martial prowess had increased? Before he left, he could gauge his level to some extent through his chi sense. But now, he couldn't accurately determine his level. To be able to conceal one's chi from an opponent, one must be at least equal to or superior to them. That can't be. He had expected that this mission, being confidential and extremely difficult, would provide great experience and lead to some growth. But it seems to have far exceeded those expectations. Could it be that this child has reached a level nearly equal to his own or even approaching the wall? If that were the case, he should be happy as this was his son who would become the successor, but the current situation didn't allow for unrestrained joy. After staring at his son for a long while, Vice Society leader Mong Xiao-Cheon finally spoke in a low voice. "I need to hear 3 explanations from you. Please ask." The one who answered was his son, Mong Muyak, the deputy leader of the Society Leaders Direct Squad and commander of the intelligence department. He was facing his father, the Vice Society leader Mong Xiao-Cheon, immediately after returning to the organization. Even if not maintaining periodic contact during your return was due to continuous pursuit, you should have known this was a confidential mission. Why did you enter through the main gate instead of the secret passage? Their mission was, as stated, confidential. Yet they had acted in a way that defied expectations. Because of this, by now, various sects might have discovered the existence of the Holy Fire Priestess. Even if they had concealed her identity in a carriage, they couldn't be at ease. He was curious about the intention behind such an action. "Speak." "I'll be frank, sir." "Frank?" "Yes." "What on earth are you saying?" "It was to show that we had returned." "What?" At these words from his son Mong Muyak, Vice Society leader Mong Xiao-Cheon raised an eyebrow. For a moment, he was dumbfounded. Is this child serious? With this answer alone, this child had already disobeyed the orders of the society leader and himself. He had hoped there was some special reason, like interference near the organization, but the worst possible answer came out. "Have you forgotten what a confidential mission means?" "I know. But if we hadn't done this, you would have tried to kill young Master Mok Jianyan upon his return from completing the mission." "Father. You." Mong Xiao-Cheon's voice rose. This was related to his second question. His order had been to kill Mok Jianyan if he made any contact with the righteous sects or showed even the slightest suspicious behavior. All those involved in the confidential mission were prepared to sacrifice Mok Jianyan if necessary. He was essentially a disposable pawn. Thus, Vice Society leader Mong Xiao-Cheon was quite displeased that the man he had hoped would be dealt with before returning had come back safely. "And now, did you just call that guy young Master Mok Jianyan?" "Yes." "You. Don't tell me you and he." "It's not don't tell me. Mok Jianyan succeeded in his mission, so from that point, he's the society leader's 4th disciple. Naturally, he should be called young master, shouldn't he?" At his son's response, Mong Xiao-Cheon was speechless with disbelief. Could it be that this child truly believes the society leader will accept that Mok Jianyan fellow as a disciple? Even he didn't understand why the society leader had shown such a whim, but the society leader was not in a state to take on any disciples right now. So you called him young master and disobeyed the organization's order because of that? Didn't I tell you? Are you trying to claim you disobeyed orders for fear of being discarded like a used tool? It's not a claim, it's a fact. You're disappointing this father for the first time. I only did what I had to do. Bang! As soon as those words ended, Mong Xiaoqian slammed down on the round table in front of him. As the table shattered and collapsed weakly, Mong Xiaoqian spoke with an angry voice. You don't realize what you've done. The last question seems meaningless now, so I'll replace it with an order. An order? Bring Mok Jiang'an. No. That guy isn't necessary right now. Anyway, that guy would have many enemies even if left alone, so it didn't matter. Forget about Mok Jiang'an for now. Bring the holy fire priestess here immediately. The priority was to put out the immediate fire. When he ordered them to bring the holy fire priestess, not only did they not use the secret passage, but they appeared boldly through the front gate, and even took a carriage to the Shadow Clan. This was clearly disobeying orders. However, since it was a secret order and the situation was unfavorable, he couldn't openly mobilize the society leader's direct squad, so he had no choice but to give this order to Mong Muyak. But I cannot do that. What came out of Mong Muyak's mouth was a clear refusal. At this, the greatly angered by society leader Mong Xiaoqian stood up abruptly and raised his voice. Are you really going to disobey the order? Disobeying the order was merely a matter of the method of return. More importantly, the young master requests that the society leader fulfill his promise and grant him a private audience. What? Fulfill the promise and grant a private audience? Did he just relay Mok Jiang'an's wishes to him, his direct superior and father? These youngsters were truly crossing the line. At this, Mong Xiaoqian's hand moved. Pat. The table was already broken, and since he was standing and only 1.5 steps away, he was within immediate reach. As he tried to subdue him at once with the golden silk palm technique, pa-pa-pack. Not only did Mong Muyak lightly block his technique, but he also pushed Vice Society leader Mong Xiaoqian back. Pushed back about 3 steps, Mong Xiaoqian's eyes widened. He had suspected it due to the chi sense, but this child's martial prowess had truly approached the wall. Even if he had survived a life-threatening crisis and returned safely, how could his capabilities have increased this much in just a few months? As he wondered, Mong Muyak spoke. Vice Society leader, no, father. You. Just as you chose to serve the society leader, I have chosen young master Mok Jiang'an. Now you're saying that. You may reprimand me now, father, but soon your thoughts will change. Around the same time, at the Shadow Clan's estate in the inner sanctum, Huan Yaxian, the leader of the Shadow Clan and one of the 3 clan leaders who were high-ranking officials of the Heaven and Earth Society, had a look of bewilderment in his eyes after receiving an urgent message. This was because, according to the Shadow Clan warrior who brought him the message, Mok Jiang'an had not returned through the organization's secret passage but had entered through the main gate. Moreover, according to the warriors guarding the city gate, there was an old woman riding in the carriage. The Holy Fire Priestess. Shadow Clan leader Huan Yaxian was certain that the old woman was the Holy Fire Priestess as soon as he heard this. But what kind of bolt from the blue was this? It was good news that she, who could be considered the spiritual pillar of the Fire Faith Order, had escaped alive from the underground prison of the Imperial Palace, but bringing her here. What kind of act was this? I clearly gave the order. The order he had given to Mok Jiang'an was to divert the Holy Fire Priestess before returning to the Heaven and Earth Society. He had thought that with the guy's wit and skills, he would succeed even in this dangerous mission. But a completely unexpected variable had occurred. What on earth have you done? He had trusted Mok Jiang'an because he was a fellow Fire Faith Order member and his disciple. However, from the moment he brought the Holy Fire Priestess here, he couldn't understand why the guy had done such a thing. If he had offered the Holy Fire Priestess to the society leader, it could have been dismissed as betrayal out of greed to become the 4th disciple, but he brought her to the Shadow Clan. Because of this, he found himself in an extremely difficult situation. Why? By bringing the Holy Fire Priestess to the Shadow Clan, all eyes from the Society Leader's direct squad and the intelligence department were now focused here. No, this was a situation worthy of suspicion. It meant he had brought someone to the Shadow Clan who was ordered to be brought in defiance of the Society Leader's orders. Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian's mind became complicated. What should he do about this? The one fortunate thing was that although the Vice Society Leader and the Society Leader's direct squad had somehow managed to block and hide the information, the Society Leader's condition seemed to have reached a critical point. If so, should I attempt to escape with the Holy Fire Priestess, even if it means abandoning the Foundation here? She held a very important position in the Order. As someone in the position of the Order's leader, he had a duty to protect her. If she falls into the Society Leader's hands, her safety would be in danger. He must make a decision one way or another. With that, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian arrived at the rear garden of the estate where the carriage was said to have arrived. Upon arrival, Huan Yacian immediately frowned. This was because Huan Yacian had ordered to detain Mok Jiangan and the carriage as soon as they arrived. It was to avoid suspicion since the Society Leader's direct intelligence department was watching. But all the Shadow Clan warriors in the rear garden were collapsed, and several masked individuals could be seen unconscious near the walls as well. What was going on here? Why were all of them in such a state? As Huan Yacian wondered, his gaze turned towards the carriage. That is? In front of the carriage, he saw a horse with an enormous build incomparable to ordinary horses. Just looking at its fierce mane that seemed about to burst into flames, it was clearly an extraordinary steed. Someone was standing in front of it with their hands behind their back, and, Jiangan? At his call, the person standing with their hands behind their back lowered their arms and turned around. It was Mok Jiangan. Mok Jiangan smiled faintly and then, as if paying respects to his master, he put his hands together in a fist-palm salute and greeted him. It's been a long time, master. At this greeting, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian, with eyes full of wariness, immediately moved his hand to the sword at his waist and said, "What is the meaning of this?" Huan Yacian gestured towards the collapsed Shadow Clan warriors around them as he asked. To this question, Mok Jiangan shrugged and answered, "They're not dead." "That's not what I'm asking, is it?" The true intent of his question was not that. Not only had he brought the Holy Fire Priestess here, but he had also taken down all the Shadow Clan warriors who were ordered to surround them to avoid outside surveillance. This could only be seen as intentional in any way. To Huan Yacian, whose hand was touching his sword, Mok Jiangan said, "I've dealt with those watching as well, so you can speak freely." Mok Jiangan pointed to two locations with his hand. Those were the western and southeastern walls, where the collapsed masked individuals were not people of the Shadow Clan. Huan Yacian couldn't have been unaware of this. "You know very well that's not what I'm asking, swish." At that moment, Huan Yacian frowned. This was because someone had placed the sharp tip of a sword against his back while he was holding his sword. "Please take your hand off your sword, Elder Clan leader." "No way?" To his disbelief, it was none other than Bayok, his bodyguard and confidant. Chapter 386. Return. Part 2. At the same time, in young Master Na Yelriang's estate within the inner sanctum of Heaven and Earth Society. Young Master Na Yelriang, sitting comfortably leaning against the head seat, downed a cup of alcohol in one gulp and then tossed it to the floor. Crash! As the cup shattered, the corners of Na Yelriang's mouth curled up. Seeing this, his confidant Moyak chuckled and said, "Are you that pleased?" "Of course I am." After his seclusion, he had searched for that guy, but when he suddenly disappeared, his enthusiasm had cooled for a while. Born with innate killing intent and devoid of emotions, he had lived a life without obstacles due to his natural martial talent. Because of this, no one except his master, the Heaven and Earth Society leader, and the 5 kings who held the title of 8 stars, could arouse his interest. Even the disciples vying for the position of successor were mere youngsters to him, failing to evoke any response. But then, that guy appeared. Mok Jiangan. A monster he encountered for the first time in his life. He grew during their fight and surpassed the wall before even coming of age. Not only that, although he received help from Xiaodoquang later, he even managed to defeat Na Yaoriang. Since then, Na Yaoriang found interest in life for the first time, because he developed a genuine desire to kill someone. This was clearly an emotion. Clench. Na Yaoriang clenched his fist and then relaxed it. How long had he been waiting for that guy to appear? It's a confidential mission, so I cannot disclose it. Is it inside or outside? I cannot disclose that either. The only thing he learned through the Vice Society leader was one fact: that the guy was carrying out a confidential mission for the society leader. Meanwhile, the society leader's condition had rapidly deteriorated, and he was momentarily caught up in contemplation due to a proposal brought to him by the Elder Council. And now, finally, that mock Jiangan had appeared. Thud. Young Master Na Yaoriang stood up. Moyak frowned and said, "Young Master, surely you're not planning to go kill him right now? Is there any reason to wait longer?" "Not now." At those words, Na Yaoriang looked at Moyak with cold eyes and said, "What do you mean, not now? How long had he been waiting for the day to fight that guy again? And now, was he trying to hold him back?" As he revealed his displeasure, Moyak, seeming to have read his mood, carefully said, "He has returned after completing a confidential mission given by the society leader. But isn't there something strange?" At these words, Na Yaoriang raised an eyebrow and then answered, "He headed to the Shadow Clan without going to see Master, you say?" "Yes. And unlike when he disappeared, he appeared through the organization's main gate." At Moyak's words, Na Yaoriang's eyes narrowed and the corners of his mouth lifted. He feared being discarded like a used tool, it seems. That's the only way to think of it for now. He probably doesn't know the society leader's condition yet, but seeing how he headed straight to the Shadow Clan, which could be considered an ally, instead of the main branch. At this assessment, Na Yaoriang clicked his tongue. He had thought that despite being originally a hostage from the righteous faction, the guy had caught Master's eye and received a confidential mission due to his tremendous martial talent, but was he just a disposable pawn after all? To be held back by mere origins. Luck doesn't seem to be on his side. That's not for us to worry about. But we don't know yet. It could be that he feared being discarded, but there's also a slight chance he headed straight to the Shadow Clan on the society leader's orders. Was that it? Yes. What Moyak was saying they should be wary of was the latter possibility. If it was just the former, there wouldn't be any problem in dealing with him. However, if it was the latter, it would mean interfering with someone carrying out the society leader's confidential mission. So what do you suggest we do? There's no need for you to move directly or for us to reveal our hand, young master. Are you saying we should leave him be? No. We have the most suitable piece, don't we? Suitable piece? Oh. You mean him? At young master Na Yaoriang's words, Moyak nodded and answered with a faint smile. Yes. Weren't you planning to test him anyway? To see if he has truly turned his back on Miss Y Soyun's faction and Bright Blade King's side. Your cunning mind is indeed. I don't understand why you keep calling it cunning when there are better words like strategy or tactics. It's all the same. At young master Na Yaoriang's words, Moyak smacked his lips. Then he stood up and said, "Then I'll take your permission and set him in motion." Young master Na Yaoriang stared at Moyak. Although it would be easier to move directly than this method, it was certainly not a good situation to act rashly now. Therefore, there was no harm in testing through that person. Do as you wish. Na Yaoriang shrugged and sat down. As his permission was given, Moyak raised the corner of his mouth slyly and said, "He. Even if he employs a strategy of suffering a flesh wound, unlike with Y Soyun's faction he allied with or Wu Horang, Bright Blade King's chief disciple, he'll properly take action this time, even if just for show. If he's unlucky, he might end up half-crippled." At these words, Na Yaoriang snorted. Although the opponent was the worst, if he became half-crippled from this, then he wasn't qualified to compete with himself now. Meanwhile, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yician's expression hardened. Bayok, his bodyguard and confidant, was no different from his right arm. For such a person to suddenly aim a sword at his back, he couldn't help but be bewildered. He had personally selected Bayok when he was an orphan, taught him martial arts, and raised him, so he never had the slightest doubt about his loyalty. But now this person had betrayed him? Although he was the leader of the Shadow Clan, which dealt with the intelligence department and spies, this was somewhat unbelievable. Bayok. Have you really betrayed me? I only follow Master Mok Jiangan. How dare you? Huan Yician's voice rose slightly as his composure broke. The part of his neck not covered by the human skin mask reddened with disappointment. It might have been a natural reaction, believing he had been betrayed by someone he trusted. However, the reality was not betrayal. Bayok had merely been possessed by demonic monk, Mok Jiangan's loyal spirit servant. For Huan Yician, who was unaware of the principles of mystic arts, vengeful spirits, or evil spirits, this relationship was incomprehensible, but one thing was certain: this has gone wrong. He judged that everything was going awry. Huan Yician carefully pressed the Laogong acupoint in his left palm with his middle finger. Along with this, he opened his mouth while letting out his characteristic laugh. Oh ho ho. They say one shouldn't raise a black-haired beast, indeed. As befitting the leader of a faction that dealt with spies, he was skilled at controlling his emotions. After all, if it was certain that his disciple Mok Jiangan and his confidant Bayok had betrayed him, he couldn't remain caught up in feelings of disappointment forever. Right now, he needed to devise a way to break through this unfavorable situation. Shadow Clan leader Huan Yician, continuously racking his brain, glared at Mok Jiangan and continued speaking. It's unfortunate. What is? Your grandfather, Guardian Zhang, might lament in the afterlife if he learns of your degeneration in abandoning the cult. At these words, a strange light flickered in Mok Jiangan's eyes. When he first learned that Shadow Clan leader Huan Yician was a member of the Fire Faith Order, he had fabricated a situation to deceive him, calling his grandfather an unknown old master and pretending to be a member of the Fire Faith Order. Yet coincidentally, his grandfather was indeed a member of the Fire Faith Order. At the time, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yician had spoken as if he might know who Mok Jiangan's grandfather was. Since he kept it from you until the end, it's difficult to tell you right away. But it's certain that he was quite a high-ranking figure in our cult. Surprisingly, those words were true. He had unexpectedly come close to the truth. How interesting. Interesting? Are you saying this about the current situation? Yes, I never thought the person you had in mind would actually be him, Master. At Mok Jiangan's response, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yician frowned. Although he was quick-witted enough to infer many things from small clues, he found it difficult to understand the intention behind Mok Jiangan's current words. However, right now, his mind was more focused on escaping this place than conversing with Mok Jiangan. Huan Yician, who had been pressing the Laogong acupoint in his left palm, relaxed the muscles in his arm. At that moment, pop-pop-pop-hack. Something fell to the floor from the flesh of his left arm. As it touched the ground, poo-poo-poo-poo-poo-poo-pung. Gray smoke began to flow out. Seeing this, demonic monk, who was possessing Bayok and aiming a sword at Huan Yician's back, hurriedly tried to subdue him with the golden silk palm technique. However, pop-hack. In that instant, Huan Yician dodged demonic monk's hand in the blink of an eye with a body technique that swayed like a willow tree, then grabbed his wrist and twisted it, crack. Thud. He kicked him in the chest. Even though he was caught from behind, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yician was also a supreme master. He was not an opponent who could be easily subdued with Bayok's body, which had reached the peak of supremacy. And whoosh! By now, the smoke had spread in all directions. Bayok, who inhaled it, frowned. The moment he breathed in the smoke, he felt his body go limp and start to stiffen. It seemed to be a poisonous mist. Looking at him convulsing as his body stiffened, Huan Yician clicked his tongue and said, "You brought this upon yourself. The clan leader cared for you so much. This poisonous mist was Huan Yacian's trump card. It was a mixture of paralyzing poison and various other poisons, which he always kept hidden in his left arm through surgery. Created for use in the worst situations, it was a strong mist that could spread up to about 20 jang. Of course, an inner force master could block it with qi circulation, but they would have to waste time to do so momentarily. I'm not sure if it would work on a master who has surpassed the wall, though. The only concern was that Mok Jiangan was a master of the transformation realm. Having already seen him contend with the society leader, he knew that his skills had surpassed his own, which was why he had resorted to using his trump card. Whether this would work on Mok Jiangan or not was uncertain, but he had to attempt to escape with the Holy Fire Priestess in this moment. Flinch. Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian, who was about to swiftly move towards the carriage, unconsciously hesitated. This was due to the vast true qi filling the surroundings. What kind of true qi is this? The energy was so strong that it made his whole body break out in goosebumps. It was at that very moment. Whoosh! The gray mist, which had been so thick it obscured the surrounding view, suddenly began to move rapidly. It was creating a single flow. That flow. Could it be? Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian lifted his head. The mist that had spread widely and was moving was gradually narrowing upwards, forming a vortex. Seeing this, Huan Yacian was dumbfounded. The vast true qi filling the surroundings was trapping the mist, making it swirl and sending it upwards. Eventually, the gray mist that had been swirling and surging upwards completely disappeared. This can't be. To be able to dispel the poisonous mist with true qi alone. This was something he had never anticipated. Who on earth could it be? Only those at the level of the 8 stars or above among the 5 kings could handle true qi to this extent, right? No, this should only be possible for someone like the society leader. In his field of vision, he saw Mok Jiangan extending his hand and slightly raising his index finger. The true qi flowing from the tip of his finger was nothing short of awe-inspiring. Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian's eyes widened. Was it that child Mok Jiangan who did this? He unconsciously swallowed, his mouth having gone dry without him realizing. He knew that the speed of his martial arts development was incredibly fast, surpassing his expectations. But this was beyond the realm of expectations. What on earth had happened during the few months he was away on the confidential mission? Crack. Crack. Huan Yacian, who had been too shocked to speak, turned his head at the sound coming from beside him. There, his confidant and bodyguard Bayok was not only moving his stiffened body, but, hiss. A black liquid, presumed to be poison, could be seen flowing from the tips of his 10 fingers. What? Is he expelling the poison from his body? And in such a short moment? Although Bayok's martial arts were excellent, having been personally trained by him, he couldn't have responded this quickly after being suddenly exposed to the poisonous mist. What on earth was happening? As he was bewildered. Creak. The carriage door opened. Someone came down, leaning on a cane, and the moment Huan Yacian saw this person, various complex emotions clouded his eyes. The Holy Fire Priestess. He had wondered if the day would ever come when he would see her again after she was imprisoned in the underground prison of the Imperial Palace. Yet here he was, seeing her again like this. Even in the midst of crisis, he couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion. Grind. What should he do? No matter how joyous this reunion was, he couldn't hand her over to the Heaven and Earth Society here. Even at the cost of his own life, he had to take her outside the organization, but... It was then. Clan leader Yacian. She called out to him. He wanted to immediately call out to the Holy Fire Priestess and pay his respects, but fearing there might be eyes and ears from the intelligence department sent by the society leader's side, he couldn't hastily respond. As Huan Yacian was about to gesture to her not to speak, the Holy Fire Priestess uttered words he never expected. Immediately lower your body and pay respects to that person. What are you saying? The person before your eyes is the true master of the Holy Fire. Chapter 387. Return. Part 3. A dark space filled only with shadows. A man with a terribly scarred face from burns sat cross-legged. He was the envoy from the Elder Council who had called himself Yelmayong to young Master Na Yelriang. This Yelmayong opened his mouth. It was beyond expectations. All our preparations after discovering the secret passage have been thwarted. I never thought they would enter through the front. In response to his words, a gruff old man's voice was heard from the darkness. Cunning bastard. Did he notice in advance? It doesn't seem so. He might have just been worried about being discarded like a used tool. Discarded? Yes, being of hostage origin, he'd be an easy pawn to discard. But he's as cautious as he is cunning. Thanks to that old woman has finally entered the organization. So did he head to the society leader? No, that's not the case. No? Yes, contrary to expectations, he took the carriage to the Shadow Clan. Shadow Clan? He went to his master? Yes. Then he's not just a chess piece moving according to the society leader's will. That's how it seems so far. That means he might be connected to a third force. For instance, the group of diviners skilled enough in mystic arts to control vengeful spirits as spirit servants. You mean those who controlled the primal killing pavilion leader as a living corpse? Yes. You said they were on par with you? There aren't many diviners who can reverse and deflect my spiritual power. What should we do? For now, with the society leader's situation and not knowing how far this third force has infiltrated, we've left it alone. But now that the old woman has come here, we can't just leave it be. The presence in the darkness seemed to agree with Yelmayong's concerns, letting out a faint groan. Then he said, the immediate priority would be that old woman. Then, we should immediately. Let's hold off on the Shadow Clan for now. Hold off? Though the probability is low, it could be a trap set by the society leader. The society leader? Right now, he's. The elders know well, don't they? If by any chance this is a trap aimed at making us act, we could face a backlash. Then what do you suggest? How about making them hand her over voluntarily? Voluntarily? As it happens, that younger brother who was captured as a hostage with him at the Yun Mocksword Manor is in Brightblade King's hands. Oh? Yelmayong spoke in a meaningful voice. Whether he's a chess piece or not, it's hard to overcome the weight of blood ties. The person before your eyes is the true master of the Holy Fire. At these words from the Holy Fire Priestess, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yasian was beyond surprised and couldn't take his eyes off Mok Jiangun's face. What on earth did this mean? Mok Jiangun, whom he thought had betrayed the cult, was the master of the Holy Fire? The master of the Holy Fire. Wasn't that being the incarnation of fire they had been waiting for all this time? What exactly? Ahem. Until just a moment ago, Huan Yasian had thought he should be cautious in case of outside surveillance, but the shock must have been great as he called out to her and said, Holy Fire Priestess. Is this truly real? Pay your respects. At the Holy Fire Priestess's stern voice, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yasian's eyes wavered. There was no way she, who received revelations from the Holy Fire, would speak nonsense. Suddenly, many thoughts flashed through his mind. So the monstrous speed of martial arts development and this extraordinary intelligence were all because he was born as the incarnation? After staring intently for a while, Huan Yasian finally knelt down. Then he crossed his arms over his chest, placing his hands on both shoulders, taking the Fire Faith Order's salute. Thud. Always hiding his identity and dealing with spies and information, he was more suspicious than anyone, but paradoxically, he was also more deeply loyal and faithful to the cult than anyone. That's why complex emotions were evident in his eyes as he knelt, and even his eyelids reddened. Clan leader Yasian. Watching him like this, the Holy Fire Priestess's eyes became rather complicated. She recalled what had happened just 2 weeks ago. Everyone had gathered in the guest hall of Spiritual Sword Sanctuary Mountain Villa. How can this be? The Holy Fire Priestess and her granddaughter Yi-Sana couldn't hide their bewilderment as they looked at the broken pieces of the jewel, which could be considered the embodiment of the Holy Fire Spirit that delivered revelations. They had already been wondering why there was no mention of the jewel. But who would have thought the jewel would end up like this? What are we to do about this? The Holy Fire Priestess's mind became complicated. The ability to read revelations had brought many threats from enemies, but at the same time, it had also served to protect them. But if the jewel was broken, their role had essentially become meaningless. The Holy Fire Priestess had hoped that even if she lost her ability, it would protect her granddaughter Yi-Sana, who had inherited that power. She wasn't the only one surprised by this. Siap-Chun opened his mouth, seeming worried as he looked at it. "My lord. If the jewel that was said to deliver prophetic revelations is broken, then our mission. It's not exactly a failure." "What? What do you mean? What was our mission?" "Our mission?" That was. Their confidential mission was to break the Holy Fire Priestess out of the underground prison in the Imperial Palace. If they took the mission at face value, they certainly hadn't failed. However, the purpose of capturing the Holy Fire Priestess clearly stemmed from her mysterious ability to predict the future. Would the society leader accept this? His going to such lengths to break out the Holy Fire Priestess seemed clearly related to his condition. To this, Siap-Chun carefully said, "Even if it's not pushed to the point of failure, he might not keep his promise, saying we didn't fully accomplish the mission. If that happens, the position of fourth disciple will be just a bubble." Before he could finish, Mong Muyak spoke up. "Is there any need to be fixated on the position?" "What?" "My lord has already reached a realm where he can contend with the six heavens, who are called the pinnacle of the current martial world." "Wait, Muyak, are you saying?" The Heaven and Earth Society originally followed the law of the strong. But at some point, the heavenly vein began to reign over the organization like an emperor. But now that a being surpassing even the heavenly vein has been born, is there any need for that? Being in charge of the intelligence department, he always made rational judgments. But at his changed attitude, Siap-Chun clicked his tongue. It seemed he was that captivated by Mok Jiangun's existence and strength. "However, your words have a point. But even if the organization originally aspired to the rule of the strong, that's too hasty a judgment. At least, you want to say we need justification, don't you?" "Yes. You know this and still say such things?" No matter how strong Mok Jiangun had become, to become a figure who could lead this massive organization called the Heaven and Earth Society, he needed a justification for people to follow him. Even if he had become the Shadow Clan leader's disciple, his roots were in the righteous faction, and he had been brought here as a hostage. Moreover, if he, who had sworn loyalty to the organization, tried to solve everything with just strength, who would follow him? It would only increase internal enemies. But then... Thud. Mong Muyak knelt on one knee right there and put his hands together in respect. Everyone's attention focused on his sudden behavior. Then Mong Muyak spoke to Mok Jiangun in a reverent voice. "It's not only the heaven and earth veins that have the right to be the master of the organization. Muyak, what are you? It's no coincidence that the successor of the moon vein has returned to the organization. If my lord wishes to reign over the organization, I, Mong Muyak, will devote my life to following you with the loyalty of a dog and horse." "Moon vein?" At these words, Siap-Chun's eyes widened. Did he just say moon vein? If he's talking about the moon vein, isn't that one of the foundations of the Heaven Earth Moon Society, which could be considered the predecessor of the Heaven and Earth Society? He had thought that due to some incident, even its secret techniques had disappeared and its lineage had been completely cut off. But what was this about? As he wondered, Mong Muyak said, "You know, most of the organization might not know, but my lord is the successor of the moon vein who has appeared after 100 years. That's why Bright Blade King brought him." Mong Muyak was the deputy leader of the society leaders' direct squad. He knew well from his father, Vice Society leader Mong Xiaoqian, by what route the two hostages from the righteous faction had been captured. However, he had kept silent about Mok Jaeung-un being the successor of the Moon Vein due to the society leader's orders. After all, even if a successor of the Moon Vein had appeared, there wasn't much that could be done about it now. But now the situation had changed. Mok Jaeung-un's marvelous martial prowess could re-establish the principles of the three veins. It was then. Thud. This must not be. Mong Muyak frowned and looked at the person who had interrupted. It was the Holy Fire Priestess. Not only had she suddenly interrupted, but why was she prostrating herself on the floor? As he wondered, she said. With even the jewel that delivers revelations destroyed, the symbolism of the Holy Fire Priestess is as good as gone. In a situation where the cult leader is dead and even our existence has become meaningless, the only one who can lead the remaining cult members is the young master, who can be called the Incarnation. Please. Close your mouth. How dare you discuss whether or not to lead a heretical group with my lord? Mong Muyak cut off her words and raised his voice. Though he had broken her out of prison due to the mission, like other Central Plains people, he did not have a favorable view of the Fire Faith Order. Despite his rebuke, the Holy Fire Priestess did not back down. The young master is the true master of the Holy Fire and its incarnation. The predetermined fate cannot be changed by your. I am neither an incarnation nor the master of the Holy Fire. And fate is not predetermined. Don't arbitrarily define such things. At that moment, Mok Jaeung-un, who had been listening quietly, opened his mouth. The Holy Fire Priestess looked at him with bewildered eyes. Mong Muyak snickered and looked triumphant, thinking he was rebuking her nonsensical words. However, as it happens, I was about to tell you all what my goal is. This is perfect. Goal? My lord. What do you mean? To his puzzled question, Mok Jaeung-un answered with a faint smile. To erase the Heaven and Earth Society. At these words, everyone's faces turned to shock. Especially Seop Chun and Mong Muyak, who were from the Heaven and Earth Society. They had hoped that Mok Jaeung-un, whose martial arts had developed dramatically, would take control of the Heaven and Earth Society and rule it. But a completely unexpected ambition came out of his mouth. They couldn't help but be bewildered. My lord. What do you mean by erasing the Heaven and Earth Society? Surely you don't mean to fight against the organization itself instead of reigning over it. I just don't like it very much. Pardon? The name Heaven and Earth Society, that is. Don't worry. I'm not saying I'll erase those who say they'll follow me. This can't be. They wondered if they had misunderstood. But he was truly serious about erasing the Heaven and Earth Society. Although his martial prowess had increased dramatically, the Heaven and Earth Society was a massive power that divided the current martial world into three. They were at a loss for words that this was serious. There's a completely different meaning between standing tall within the Heaven and Earth Society and expressing the intention to erase the Heaven and Earth Society itself. Then the Holy Fire Priestess spoke in a trembling voice. Young master. If that is truly your will, please take in the poor cult members. If you do, they will. If they come of their own accord, I'll accept them. But if they're coming under me, it won't be the Heaven and Earth Society, nor will it be the Fire Faith Order. They just need to follow me, that's all. At these words from Mok Jaeung-un, everyone's whole bodies trembled. The meaning of these words was clear. It was no different from declaring that he would walk the path of hegemony himself. Not the Heaven and Earth Society, not the Fire Faith Order, but an independent path. Is he trying to open a new world? Your job is one thing. Turn those order members into pieces I can use, not the Fire Faith Order. This was the task he had given her. Prove your usefulness on your own. The task came with a grim warning. For 2 weeks, the Holy Fire Priestess had been lost in countless worries. Mok Jaeung-un had spoken casually, but his decision was no different from ending the very existence of the Fire Faith Order. It was too sad to end the existence of the Fire Faith Order, which had persisted for so long, like this. But suddenly, a thought occurred to her. Was the name Fire Faith Order really that important? What mattered was the spirit and doctrines contained within it, and the mindset of its members. Abandoning the name and following Mok Jiangun didn't mean abandoning those things. After all, the existence of Mok Jiangun was the incarnation of fire and the value of their continued existence. Let's not cling to the name. The young master is the cult itself. What she had to do with her remaining life was decided. It was to revive the existence of the cult, which everyone had shunned, anew under Mok Jiangun as the incarnation. Clan leader Yacian was the beginning. Clan leader Yacian. Everything is for the cult. Please understand. If she were to tell him to follow the incarnation rather than the cult right away, he might not understand or might rebel, so her job was to gradually influence him. Young master. Please accept clan leader Yacian, a faithful order member. The holy fire priestess put her hands together in a cross and paid respects, requesting this of Mok Jiangun. It was then. Ta-ta-ta-ta-tack. The sound of someone running urgently was heard. Soon, a Shadow Clan warrior came running breathlessly through the pavilion in the rear garden and then stopped abruptly. What is this? The warrior had come to deliver something, but he couldn't help but be bewildered by the sight of Shadow Clan warriors collapsed all around the rear garden. Then Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian hurriedly stood up and said, "What's the matter?" Clan leader. This is. Don't worry about this place, just tell me what's going on first. But. We have guests. At that moment, Mok Jiangun said, looking towards the pavilion. Guests? Rumble rumble. Then, a group of people could be seen rushing over from beyond the pavilion. The one standing at the front particularly stood out, a muscular middle-aged man with a much larger build than Bright Blade King, carrying a massive axe on one shoulder. Seeing this, Shadow Clan leader Huan Yacian furrowed his brow and muttered, "Axe-destroying king?" It was Axe-destroying King Ho Tae-gang, one of the 5 kings who were high-ranking officials of the Heaven and Earth Society, and a supreme master who held the title of one of the 8 stars.